talk about your website in particular, because you sell online.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about this a few times, that hemp is pretty young and trendy, but you don't want to be that. You want to be like selling to the moms and the pet owners and things like that.
Yep.
So how did that translate to a website? Did you work with a designer or did you do it yourself? Like, what were those design guidelines in your mind when you were thinking, okay, how do I translate my vision online?
Mm-hmm. In my mind, it was really just a color scheme. I wanted to keep everything earthy and natural and real, and not focus on bright neon, and not focus on huge buy one get one sales and everything that's flashy to get people in the door. I really wanted to keep things earthy and comfortable and easy to navigate, and reward people for coming back rather than offering deep discounts at the beginning. So that was kind of, it was colors and kind of nature in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not my area of expertise. I can educate people. I can serve them. I'm awesome with customer service because I care about humans.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not as good at the rest of it. So I absolutely hired a designer. I phone interviewed probably 7 or 8, and I got actual website proposals from 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hired the one that I felt was going to be the best partner.
How did you determine that? Because that's a really tough one, right? So was it just a connection that you had, human to human, that you felt like, wow, he or she gets me? Or like, what was that thinking?
That was a piece of it. And I respected that he asked an absurd number of questions, like a ridiculous, annoying number of questions, because it meant that he really wanted to understand what I wanted. And he certainly wasn't saying, here are my box options. Let's pick the one that fits you best, right? He was saying, we're going to build a new box based on what works best for you. And this new box isn't going to be overnight, and it's not going to be cheap. But you tell me what you want it to look like at the end, and we're going to build something that you're happy with. And he did. And there was customization, but he definitely was not the cheapest, and it wasn't quick. I want to say probably 6 months from initial conversation to site launch. But some of that was on me, right? I was working, I was doing things, so I wasn't always getting him everything back as quickly as I'm sure he would have appreciated. So it took some time. But I was really pleased with that process, and he's still a partner for me today. He still does my website hosting. He's still the person that I go to when I want to make major changes. I have another subcontractor that will make the more minor changes for me, that helps as an ongoing partner. But that initial source is still my guy for the big stuff.
So you mentioned that when you started it took 6 months, and you've been doing this business for a while now. So this is a question which I like to answer. Like, if you could speak to 2016 Brandy,
Mm-hmm.
and tell her all the things that you know now that you wish she knew, what would it be? What were the things that you'd like to tell her?
Yeah, I'd probably tell her to settle down on expectations, because when we came out the gate, I mean, there just simply wasn't that competition. And so we were selling shockingly fast, and our numbers went up shockingly quick. But I wasn't really doing the work. We weren't putting the work into those quality relationships and those quality links. It was fast and easy. And that worked well for us. And then some of the Google updates came through and really hit us, because we hadn't been spending the time building the relationships and making sure that all of our linking was really clean and quality. If somebody wanted to link to our site, we were like, sure, let's do that. It'll be great. So we had a really a quick growth, and then we had a drop off that was pretty frustrating. And then we kind of had to regenerate, right? And focus on quality link, focus on quality information, and then just let those repeat customers and let time do its work to get us back to a stable growth track. So we're growing again, we're stable again, but I'm not seeing that really quick, that kind of quick and dirty growth. And when that's how you start, that's what you expect. So I think you tend to be a little hard on yourself when instead your growth rate of a small business performs like, oh, I don't know, a normal small business.
But I think that's really good advice, but it also seems like you were fortunate in a sense as well, right? Because I think we were just talking about how difficult doing a business can be, and even if you were getting this like quick results, I'm pretty sure it helps a lot in terms of motivation, because it tells you, it validates you after being called a drug dealer and all
It
this other
does.
stuff, waiting 6 months. I mean, that's pain involved in that process. So
Mhm.
I must have felt amazing that, okay, like everything I thought of, like people are buying this.
Yep, yep, you're exactly right. It's painful and it's scary, especially for someone who's not a natural entrepreneur, who's not a natural risk taker. That was my money. Oh my gosh, what happens now? My kids probably do need to go to college someday. I don't know. I'd like to retire, maybe. So that was scary, but really, it's been validated, and it's given me, being a business owner has given me freedoms that I never realized I really wanted and that I really valued. So there's been a lot of personal growth along with the professional, and I have been incredibly lucky to surround myself with an awesome, awesome team. I cannot imagine doing this in a vacuum. So
Mhm.
anyone who's all by themselves and handling everything, I cannot imagine the stress of that. Yeah, absolutely. Because I have got a team that supports me and that loves me and that loves what we do. So it's been great.
So now I think I'm curious, and I'm sure the viewers are curious as well. Let's have a look at the website
Yeah, yeah,
that you guys came up with, and I'd love to just like have you talk us through the thinking behind it and why you made the decisions that you did.
sure.
So you should see that. There we go.
Are we there?
Yep,
Oh, it's
looking good.
amazing. It's amazing. So this is our homepage.
Hmm.
We have grown a lot and made a lot of changes in the last 4 years, and then a lot of it has stayed the same. So Ted was my website designer and still my web partner, and he gives me all of the crap. So when I started, I wanted to have all of my categories and these cool little buttons down here that were easy to hop to. And he said, absolutely not. You can have 5. And I said, but I want 7. And he said, well, you get 5. And that is all. So he has really pushed back a lot on keeping things clean, keeping them streamlined, and making sure that I'm making the right choices. When we started, we had our main banner here was a family, and we've changed that a couple of times. And now a recent thing that we're playing with is making it products instead, and just trying to see if that speaks to people while still keeping these little category buttons down here, some of those with human faces in them, just to see. One thing that we have always really embraced is our imperfection. So if you look at our social media, we don't do a whole ton with stock photos. We do a lot of natural items. We do a lot of natural, not perfect and not touched up photos, because we are a small business and we are real people, and we want others to kind of embrace that in us and not just the, big corporate stock perfect photos. So we do that. But on our website, we really, do stick with those stock photos, just trying to keep things clean and very searchable. We also take customer feedback pretty seriously.